can you run a half marathon whilst taking Manjaro? Short answer, yes. Long answer, there's quite a few variables that you need to think about. The first one is probably, what is your state of fitness? Do you have any pre-existing injuries or anything like that may stop you being able to take part? Obviously, if you've got any kind of health issues, then check with a doctor and see whether that's possible. But probably, if you're watching this video, you've had a bit of a thought in your head that, hey, yeah, I'd like to run a half marathon. I think I'm going to like running, or I do like running, and I know I can progress further. So we'll get over that one. Yes, you are physically capable to run a half marathon. And you know what? People of all shapes and sizes run half marathons every day, every week, every year. I've done it when I've been 17 stone or so, and it's fine. Just expectations are a little bit different, reasoning to time, recovery, and how you do those plans. But let's say, yeah, you're fine to run a marathon. The next question is, on Manjaro, how long have you been taking it? Have you started taking it yet, or are you partly through the process? The reason I say that is because it takes a little while for the body to get used to Manjaro. That's why they start on, a smaller dose, 2.5 milligrams, and then work their way up. So if you're at the beginning of your Manjaro journey, one, you're taking in a new drug, which can have side effects on your body, and maybe you haven't learned about that yet. Secondly, you would have just started a calorie deficit diet as well. And I personally found that had a big effect on my body, on my energy levels when I went out running. Just my body wasn't used to it. My body had gone from being able to take in quite a lot of calories of whatever food it really wanted to. And then when I started the diet, I knocked that back, and my body took a little while to work that out. But I'd say it's kind of used to it. But I'd say if you were going to start your half marathon plan tomorrow and then also start taking Manjaro tomorrow, then you will probably not like it, because you're better off either starting your half marathon plan and then taking Manjaro, or vice versa. I'd kind of say it's probably best to start taking Manjaro, get used to the side effects, know how it reacts to your body, and then start doing your plan for the half marathon. What are your targets for running this half marathon? Have you got a certain time in mind that maybe you've run half marathons before and you're like, hey, I'd like to get this time, I think it's possible? Or is it your first time running a half marathon? And my thought for anyone who's running their first half marathon is, or literally any kind of like long distance race that you've never run before, is to have several targets in place. One, just finish. Two, maybe have a bit of a time in mind that you'd like to get to. And then three, best case scenario. But finishing will always be that first one. And if you are getting some kind of effects on Manjaro, or you're not able to kind of boost your energy levels, then maybe you should just think about getting to that completion level and forget about times and things, because they change. They're variable. And I found personally that I've run quite a lot of half marathons. I've run marathons as well. And as I get older, my kind of like times and my energy levels are dropping. I'm not getting near my kind of PB levels. So it'd be foolish of me to kind of go out and think, oh, I can just hit this and get times that I used to get just because I've lost a bit of weight. I'm lighter than I was when I ran those times, but also I've got older. Different things have changed, and I might not be able to get those. But conversely, if I put a proper training plan in place and worked really, really hard, I'm not saying that's impossible, but just for me, getting those times are a little bit harder as I get older, or as I have less time to train and do the huge variety of activities that I used to do. So you can have side effects on Manjaro, and those can be gastrointestinal. So some people have dodgy stomachs, which does not pair very well with running, especially if you're intending to take gels as part of your long distance runs to give you that extra energy. They are kind of recommended over if you're going to be running over a certain distance. Some people can feel a bit lightheaded. That often comes, hand in hand with a lower calorie diet as well. And then there are other kind of things, headaches and things like that. Luckily for me, I think I had a few stomach issues at the beginning, but my body's fine with it now. I did feel a bit lightheaded and with low energy on some of my runs at the beginning. That's changed. I don't think I've got the full energy back even after all this time. So that is what I'm finding. Running on a lower calorie diet means I have less energy. But it doesn't have to be negatives. So if you're taking Mounjaro, you will be losing weight. That's what I found. I'm 3 stone lighter, over 3 stone lighter than when I started taking Mounjaro. So I started at 17 stone. I'm under 14 stone now. And that loss of weight, that kind of 20 kilos I think I've lost, is going to have a fairly big effect on what I'm putting my body through, the amount of calories that I'm going to have to do to run a certain distance and carry on running. So one, you're going to lose weight, but again, where are you on your Mounjaro journey? If you've kind of reached your target weight, then brilliant. You kind of know what to expect. Whereas if you're just starting your Mounjaro journey and you're at possibly your heaviest weight, then maybe you have to kind of taper those expectations or understand that there will be quite a few variables to how your half marathon training is going to go. So losing weight, positive. There's also other things like reduced inflammation is quite a big side effect. It's not a side effect, it's a positive effect for that, which has been reported. So that is going to help with recovery, especially on the joints. If you're not used to running or you're increasing your mileage, you will find that you're a little bit achier. Your joints are going to ache a little bit more. So that is great that you're going to be able to hopefully have a bit of reduced inflammation. That doesn't happen to everyone, but it's been quite widely reported that that is a positive side effect of Mounjaro. The most important thing you could do if you're thinking of running a half marathon is following a training plan. That will get you from, in some cases, doing a beginner plan, running 0 miles a week, through to advanced or intermediate, depending on what your current levels are. But these plans are amazing because they incrementally increase your running distance each week so that your body is able to stagger that increase in mileage, the increase in number of runs, and basically get you to a place where you can run that half marathon. You will start running longer runs each week. You'll also do a variety of other kind of runs as well. One might be like some speed work, another one will just be like a recovery run. All the plans are slightly different, but they all involve a long run, generally at the weekend or whatever day you can do it, where you're going up from, if we think of a half marathon as 21 kilometers, maybe you'll start and it'll be like 5k, 10k, 15, 18, and then it will get you just that kind of precipice of being able to take on a full half marathon, and then you'll be at race day, and that is when it kicks in and you're done. It's a great way. I've followed plans, so follow a plan. There's loads out there. They're not that complicated, but they really, really will help you go from thinking, man, this is tough, thinking that I'm going to be able to run 13.1 miles, run a half marathon, and your body will do better, and also your times will get better, and just your confidence will get better as well. So follow a plan, stick to it, and it adds a real structure to your week. Probably the biggest conflict between someone taking Mounjaro and someone wanting to run a half marathon or any longer distance race is, how do you manage those calories? if you've started taking Manjaro, then you're going to be on a reduced calorie diet. You're taking in less energy. Your body is therefore losing fat. It may also be losing muscle as well, just because it's not getting that energy in. So if you're asking it to start doing a training plan, to start increasing the mileage, increasing the number of runs you're doing, then you will have to think about how you're going to increase your calories to be able to build up for that, and just be able to have the energy to finish a half marathon, finish those 13.1 miles, those 21.1k, that the distance is. If you tried to do it on a reduced calorie still, I think you might hit a wall, maybe even a literal wall, like not a literal wall, that'd be absolutely crazy, but hitting the wall. If you're a runner, you know about hitting a wall or bonking, whatever it's called, where basically your body runs out of energy. And I've done that when I've been eating normally. I remember, I did a half marathon. It was quite a hilly one, and basically I got to about 18k and I had to have a walk. My legs were just not working, and mentally I'd kind of gone as well, and there definitely would have been some kind of fueling issues. I think I'd been ill that week anyway. I've got all the excuses, by the way, but think about how you're going to fuel, and the best way to keep track of this is to use a fitness tracker, a calorie counter, something like MyFitnessPal, which I use, where you can log all the meals you're having. You can sync it up to your fitness tracker, your Garmin or Strava or whatever it is, and it will add those calories on as well. So not only just calories you'd burn, being static, but also those ones that you're burning when you're running. So you can look at that and go, okay, I'm on a 1700 calorie diet, but actually I've just burnt 1700 calories on my long run, so I should be taking in more. It doesn't mean you have to eat those extra calories and kind of have an extra amount, but you do need to bring that on because you need to fuel your body, and that will be bringing on carbs, especially before longer runs. You don't need to carb load for 5Ks or 10Ks or things like that, but if you're going up to that half marathon distance and doing those longer runs, you do need to think about carb loading. You will be taking on some nutrition in the race, so have some gels. Some people don't do it, but I would say if you want to keep running, then you probably should be doing that as well. So you're going to have to bring on extra calories. Also, you are going to be putting on more muscle. Doing these runs, especially doing a variety of runs, you're going to be putting on more muscle, which will use more calories as well. So you're probably going to have a little think about how you're eating. If you're on Manjaro and you're finding it hard to eat food, then that is an issue, but you're going to have to find a way to get around it and think about how you're getting on those calories, whether it is the gels or whether it's protein shakes, trying to increase it in certain areas without just kind of gorging on food, because we don't want to do that. But this has kind of got me on to another point as well, is if you're thinking that you want to lose weight whilst doing half marathon training, it will probably still happen, but also accept that if you're putting more calories in, that might affect it. Even if you are running more, you can't always outrun the amount of calories that you're putting into your body, and you will be putting on more muscle as well. So don't be disheartened if your scales, you have a maintenance week where you don't lose anything, or you may be used to losing, £2 a week, £3 a week, but actually it dropped back down to £1 a week. That could happen. Just understand that scenario. So understand that running a half marathon and training for a half marathon, sometimes that is your target rather than the Manjaro weight loss target. They're not always mutually exclusive, but you should understand that could be something that happens as well. So if you're training hard, you might not lose weight as much on Manjaro. So just accept that. But it's a great thing, and half marathons are amazing. So I would kind of put the Manjaro weight loss on the back burner. If you've been doing Manjaro for a while, you've already got so many big wins behind you. And if you just started your journey, it's not about week to week or even month to month. It's where you are at the start of this and where you end up at the end. And hopefully, I think you will. From what I've seen, is you're gonna lose weight, but this half marathon part in the middle is another great journey to be going on as well. So finally, here are some tips if you are taking Manjaro and are training for a half marathon. So tip number one is get those rest days in. Like that is, even if you weren't on Manjaro, it can be a bit of a false economy of thinking, oh, I should run more and that will get me fitter or it'll help me lose more weight. Your body needs to recover. You're putting it through some quite strenuous stuff. So enjoy those rest days. Next, listen to your body. If you're feeling tired, then don't be too worried about changing your day of running. Okay, next tip, you got to listen to your body. If you're feeling like you haven't got the energy, or you're a bit lightheaded, or you've got some stomach issues or something, like don't worry about it. Like that run can wait. If you miss off a training session, do you know what? The world isn't going to end. So here's a big tip, which is think about when you take your Manjaro injection and think about when you are going to be doing your longest runs. So a lot of people will do a long run at a weekend on a Saturday or Sunday, incorporate their running plan around that. And if you're taking Manjaro, you generally find that on the day of your injection, day after your injection, your appetite will drop quite a lot. Whereas near the end of the week, on those last 2 days, you're going to have an increased appetite. If you're running a long run on a Saturday and a Sunday, then it might make sense to have your jab day on the evening after your long run or the day after it, so that you are hungry, you're bringing in that food that's going to help repair those muscles that you've damaged, and it's going to give you that energy level back again. If you're doing your jab and then going out for a long run the day after, you might not feel like taking on more food. In fact, quite a lot of people after their long runs just don't, it does affect just your appetite sometimes. I'm generally not hungry the day of a long run, but the day after I am quite hungry. So maybe I would do a long run on a Sunday, and I should probably think about doing my jab on a Tuesday morning instead, perhaps. But again, you know how you behave when you're taking Manjaro, but that is something to think about. So if you're thinking, I'm a runner and I like doing my long runs on a Sunday, maybe think about, do your injection on a Monday or a Tuesday, and you'll be able to eat more food on that day. Not ping out, but take on the calories that you need. So the final tip is to listen to your body. Know that we're not machines, and this is if you're taking Manjaro or you weren't taking Manjaro and you're just someone who wants to run a half marathon and is a bit curious and you're watching this video. But listen to your body. You'll have a training plan in place, great, but that doesn't have to remain so rigid. If you've got a bit of an injury or you're not feeling great, then it's fine. It's fine to put off a run, move things around a bit, change a long run to a different day. This is what I've done, and it works. If I've got a bit of a niggle, then you're just going to make things worse. So it's best to kind of give your body that little bit extra rest and stop it. Likewise, if you've got a bit of a dodgy stomach, but I'm meant to do a run on this day, then do it the next day. It's fine. It's a bit like taking Manjaro. Half marathon training is. You got to start off, and you've got an ending point, and you've got this great kind of journey in between. But we're all thinking about how to get to the final target, whether that's your target weight loss. But in this case, it's being able to run a half marathon, and you're not going to do anyone any good by taking shortcuts or trying to be too rigid in your structure. When I'm taking Manjaro, I'll have a treat every so often, which is fine. It's not going to ruin it. It's one, if my problem has been when I've made that habit. So likewise, if you're running and you miss 2 weeks of half marathon training, you probably have to reconsider how far along you are on that plan, and are you able to make it up? And you should be able to, but have a think about yourself, listen to your body, and you'll get there. So just to recap, yes, you can run a half marathon whilst taking Manjaro. Just be realistic with what your targets are, because if you are putting an increased load on your body, if you're running more, you are going to have to take on more energy. You are going to have to take on more calories, especially if when you've started Manjaro, you've gone into a calorie deficit diet. It doesn't mean that when you're running, I have to eat loads and loads of food. You don't have to do that. You don't have to put weight on. You can still carry on losing on Manjaro, but just accept that if you are running more and you're building up more muscle and you are bringing up more food, you might not have as much weight loss as you did before, but the half marathon is a target for this, alongside losing weight over the long term. But for many of us, Manjaro is a longer journey, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever it is, you will do a half marathon training plan, generally over, it can be like 12 weeks or so, sometimes 6 weeks, 16 weeks. And hopefully it gets you into a great place to carry on your running after that. Don't just do the half marathon and stop. Go on. Running is fun. Incorporating that into your life after you've done the half marathon is a great step as well. But just enjoy yourself. Yeah, we will want to run lots, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it does happen. But have fun. And hopefully this will help. If you've got any questions that I've kind of missed out in this, then drop a question in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. But finally, remember, we're all individuals. We're all on different stages in our journey. So times, weight loss, they're so variable. And I don't get told actually. I tell people that I've got a little quote, and it's comparison is the thief of joy. So don't compare yourself to other people, whether that's in weight loss, whether that's in running, whether that's in your finish times or your distances. You're you, and just have fun on the journey.